Happy beautiful day. It's Pete Cohen here. Welcome to episode 190 of the My 365 podcast series. Today's podcast is called How to Stop Living in the Past. Get ready for another game-changing podcast that will help you and guide you and support you in creating the life that you want today. I can't believe it's 189 episodes. It's been an incredible ride. We've only just got started. I know recently we've been doing a few of Pete and Patty's Powerful Particulars podcast, which has been awesome. We're going to continue to get some of those podcasts to you. Patty is my coach. I coach her. She coaches me. I can't even begin to tell you how much she's inspired me to inspire you, because I think that's what we're all on this earth to do, to inspire each other, to help each other, to support each other grow. And I think once we get our minds around growing and getting better, then life becomes a lot easier. Because let's face it, life isn't always easy, but we have an opportunity to change. And what we're going to be looking at today, I think is truly fascinating. We touched on it in the last podcast, how to stop living in the past. Now, when I say to you, where are you living? You might say, well, I'm living in this part of the world. Not that that's a German accent. You could be living anywhere. But what I'm really talking about is, where is your mind? We have this incredible, powerful thing called a human mind. And I think it plays a lot of tricks on us. I don't know how many times a day you notice that your mind is playing a trick on you. Because, we have, it's estimated between 50, 60, 70,000 thoughts in one day. That's a lot of thoughts. But most of those thoughts are old thoughts, and in many cases they're connected to the past. And as I continue to grow and evolve and learn, because I'm fascinated about learning and growing, I find it really interesting when you come up against someone who has an opposing view to you. I think if you could think of the last time in your life where you felt really passionate about something, maybe something you really believed, and you told someone about it, and it really conflicted with them, and they thought they were right, and you thought you were right, and it created some form of tension. This happens a lot. But what's so fascinating is that it's our body that takes over. It's our body that feels. So think about this. Right? Once upon a time, our bodies were the servants of our minds. So our minds, our brain, we want to walk. So our bodies don't know how to do that. So our minds kind of instruct our bodies what to do. The body makes mistakes, it falls over, but the mind, keeps going because the mind wants something, it sees something. And that's how we learn to do most things, from driving a car to walking. And what our bodies become is our bodies become our unconscious mind. Now, what that means is that, look, a habit is something that you learn to do to the point where your body can do it without you even thinking about it. Now, why I'm telling you this is that we know that people don't change when we tell them what to do. We know that people change, more likely to change, when their perspective changes, when they look at things differently. And in our work in coaching people all over the world, and in the group coaching that we do online, it's all about creating a safe environment where people can go and learn and try things and get better and develop the skills and the techniques and the strategies to move their life forwards. But where we become such victims, we become a victim of our conditioning, we become a victim of our past. And what I want you to think about is, maybe you get that, yeah, Pete, you're right. Once upon a time, my mind was the master, my body didn't know what to do. And even today, when you're still learning things, that you still go through that same process. But it's estimated that by the time we're about 35 years old, 95% of who we are is all based on conditioned responses. Who we are is conditioned emotional reactions, hardwired attitudes, perceptions, beliefs, and we are what we have done. So if you have a thought, like if you think, I'm going to be late, then all of a sudden your body goes, I know what that means, and you feel the lateness inside you, which in most cases would be some sort of stress, worry, anxiety. And your body then thinks, okay, I need to feel this. The more you feel it, the more you have those thoughts. And it's a very challenging thing for human beings to change their conditioned responses. Look, we have this amazing equipment, our bodies, our minds, but most of us have never really been taught how to use the equipment more effectively. You know, we go to school and we learn things, but we don't really learn how to change the way we think. We don't really learn how to feel differently about ourselves. We don't really learn emotional intelligence. And then as we get older and we realize, for some of us, we want to learn this stuff, but what we do is we might learn about it and go, oh, that's interesting, but we don't apply it because we tend to go back to what is familiar. We tend to go back to what we know. So working and changing yourself is one of the biggest challenges that we'll ever face. And perhaps it's one of the greatest things that any of us will ever achieve. Achieve that ability to feel good about who you are, feel that you are in control of your life as opposed to your past being in control of your life. So let me put it to you like this. When you wake up in the morning, what do you do? What is your routine? Look, years ago, the things that we now do now, we never would have done then because the technology didn't exist. But for most of us, we get up in the morning and we immediately want to connect to things that make us feel that we are here. And I believe most of those things that we're connecting to, and I used to do this a lot. I used to get up because, you know, I love what I do. I've got a lot going on. I've got things going on, people I'm working with on WhatsApp, Facebook, people I work with on Skype, email, text messaging. And I could literally get up and I could start connecting to so many different things, connecting to what is familiar, seeing I put a post out there and seeing, oh, and then the feelings I get are feelings that often just wanting to feel that I am connected. And what I'm often connecting to is to how I felt yesterday and how I felt the day before. And anxiety can come up and tension can come up. And what I've learned is if you're over 35, or it doesn't really matter if you're under 35, whatever age you are, if we want to really change how we feel and start living more in the future, there is a practice, you might have heard of it, it's called meditation, which is such a powerful way for us to enter into our operating system. The operating system inside our bodies, the operating system that will allow you to lay down some new neurological pathways to feeling more at peace, to feel more calm, to feel more grounded, to feel more like you're here. And maybe as a consequence of this podcast, you'll become something which many of us have heard of, mindfulness. See, mindfulness is just your ability to become more aware, to become curious, to take ownership and to be that kind of coach where you start to coach yourself as you see what happens. So, you know, today, if something happens that triggers you, that you have a thought and all of a sudden that thought goes into your body and then your body gives you a feeling of whatever was associated with that thought, then all of a sudden the programming, what you've experienced in the past, because that feeling is familiar to something that happened in the past. And what's so incredible about human beings is how many of us have gone through some traumatic experience in my life. I've gone through a few, but one of the most traumatic experiences was what I went through with my wife. You know, a few years ago, my wife wasn't given very long to live, and she was having seizures. And I mean, I can be quite an anxious person, and this really put me on the edge of my seat, that I would always be on, you know, high alert. It was so traumatic that I'm sure you can understand that so many moments have happened or happened during that time, which made me even more anxious. And why I'm telling you this is that I have to be so mindful of this, because even today I notice that my mind goes back, because my mind doesn't want the future to be what the past was. But what I'm putting into the future is my past, because I'm thinking about the past. And one of the best things about the past is it's over. And if you want to leave the past in the past, one of the most powerful things to do is to recognize every single day you have an opportunity to be in the day. You have the opportunity to create the day. You have an opportunity to start the day with a clean slate. Very young children are brilliant at this. They don't know what happened yesterday. They just know where they are now. In fact, before they can really think, they don't even know what anything is. All they know is now. Now, I'm not saying that that's all we want to know, but life is so much better and life is so much sweeter where we are in the now. And what we do with people, and we can share some of this with you if you're the sort of person who's interested in creating and cultivating and adding different ways of thinking into your world, we can show you how to do that, because you won't find too many committed organizations like ours who are just totally obsessed with helping everyday people create the life that they want, totally obsessed with helping people find the strength and the resolve that they have in themselves. You see, what defines you, what defines me in many cases is we've all done some great things. Now, you might not think you have, but you have. You've had challenges in your life and you're still here. Maybe you're going through some challenges right now, but you're still here. You're still in the game. You're still doing the best that you can. But if you want to do better than what you've done in the past, meditation is such a powerful tool. Become more mindful. Just become more aware. Today, tomorrow, notice. Don't look at it as right or wrong, but if you're triggered and you get frightened, you get stressed, you get worried, think about, where did that come from? It's just like a library. If you got a book from the library and you go back and put the book back where you got it from, it's the same thing in many cases. Emotions can be just simple things which have happened over time. Look, we live in a world that's been giving us messages for years. You're not good enough, you can't do this, you need that. So it's not surprising that we are often a victim of our conditioning. We can recondition ourselves. The best way to recondition ourselves, if you want to start living more today and creating a future that you want, is definitely meditation. And if you want to take that to another level, it's learning how to dream. Learning how to dream so much that you think about what the things that you want in the future. You identify with the person that you'd like to become in such a way where you convince a part of your brain that that's real. This is the great thing. If I said to all of you that are listening, think of a holiday that you've been on in your life. I'm sure you could remember one or two. But if I said, imagine being on a holiday in the future that you've never been on. Beautiful beach, your perfect holiday, everything is there that you want. It's wonderful, it's amazing. Your brain doesn't know which one of those is real or not. If you think about what you want to create and you think about it in such a way where you get emotional about it, rather than putting emotion into the past, putting emotion into your future. And this is something people ask me a lot. What are you inspired about? Maybe that's because I ask that question all the time. What are you passionate about? What are you inspired about? I'm inspired about creating. I'm inspired about doing. I am inspired about where I'm going. And I have to remind about myself that every single day. Look, there's so many things out there these days that we can learn, but we need to apply. We need to get into the habit, the discipline of being disciplined, the commitment of being committed and recommitting every single day. And that's what we do, and that's what we have created, a place for people to go to work on themselves. The greatest project that you will ever take on, mastering yourself, finding peace in yourself, and learning to do something truly amazing. Look, as we bring this podcast to an end, I'd love to know what's been your biggest learning, your biggest takeaway from what I'm sharing with you right now. Maybe it's the thought that 95% of who we are is, by the time we're in our 30s, is very much set in stone. But it's not set in stone. It just feels like it is. We think we are who we are and we can't change. We can change. But it does take a bit of discipline. And a lot of research shows that people are living in a perpetual state of stress. It's estimated that 70% of people are experiencing some sort of stress most of the time. What is that stress? It's something from the past, something that's triggered it. We don't have to be our past. We don't have to be defined by our past. We can define ourselves by where we are going. If you want to try some of the meditations that we have, I'm sure we can get those to you, because we are here for one reason. That's why we've done 190 odd podcasts, because and we put out our books, and go and check out Inspirators.me, my brand new book, Inspirators, Inspirators, Inspirators.me. Check out the book that we've written about becoming the leader in your life, truly fascinating. You can take control. You can be amazing. You are amazing. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to wish you a happy, beautiful day. Let's take a moment. And the next time you find yourself going into your past, going into familiar emotion, put a smile on your face and say to yourself, you know what? I'm better than this. I'm more than this. This is just my past. I'm more than my past. I am whatever I choose to be. Or as William Shakespeare said, the world is but a stage and we're all but players on the stage. It's time for us to act and be the version of ourselves that we truly want to be. Your future is unwritten and you have the power to change.